our final gap
Woo!
call. 12 weeks. Well done if you are here or if you've been watching the recordings. Hopefully, it has got you into a rhythm, and I want you to keep this going. Maybe not at this hour for some, no rel, you can do it at a time of day that's a little more appropriate. But one of the biggest things in working on your business is carving out that time, not always to consume more learnings, but to be applying, right? So you want to have blocked in your calendar, where is it that you're learning? Like, what's your dedicated time to that? And then what's your time to be working on the business? But count this as like your marketing session, right? So keep in your diary where you've got blocks of time that you are specifically working on your marketing. If you have a team, that's great. You've got more hands to help do the implementation and so forth. But rhythm is key, discipline is key as well. So we're going to do a few things in this hour. We're going to have a look at the questions, of course. I do want to finish off with a little bit of a teaching, just a short time on the marketing metrics. And once you have been tracking your numbers, you've been tracking your activities, you've been seeing the results, what to actually do with those metrics that you are tracking. If you haven't yet been doing that, maybe you've only just started kind of launching with your campaign and your different activities, make sure you do keep that going. The numbers are absolutely key to help you make decisions. A lot of entrepreneurs run on intuition, run on what it feels like. Maybe you've been working with people for quite some time, and there is that innate sense of knowing what works and what doesn't work. But once you start going to a volume, right, the numbers help you understand where things are breaking down, where in that pipe you need to go and tweak things, you need to help the flow accelerate better. And that can be overall, like the activities that you're doing at different stages, or it can be, as we say, the microscopic view on things. Have you got the right imagery? Have you got the right message? Then have you got the right call to action? When are you actually doing the call to action? Are you doing the call to action too soon? Are you doing it too late? How are we keeping people engaged in those spaces? So we're going to have a look at what we measure and the types of questions that we ask when we do have that data, which is really key to making sure you're continually improving. We have some people who have submitted some questions for today. There's only 4 in there. So again, I'm thinking that people are maybe shy in putting their questions in, because there is no way that you don't have any challenges or questions at this point on the journey. Just my experience of 26 years of working with businesses. So I would say people are shy, maybe. Please don't be. Please go and put something in immediately if that's the case. If there should be something that you need some support on, encourage you to use these final 54 minutes to do so. We're also going to duck into a breakout room, and we're actually going to do that now, Rosalie. If you can set up some rooms. How many people do we have here? Stacey and Anna, are you on the call actively as well?
We're kind of here to just listen and see where everyone's plans are for the level 2s and level 3s that are joining, and level 1s as well.
Okay. So
we can go in and chat.
Yeah. Can we put Anna and Stacey in to room? Let's do groups of 3. Just don't put Anna and Stacey together. And we have Shah. That is a new name that I haven't seen, but there's no face there. Who is Shah on the call?
Hi. Sorry, my hair's a little bit of a mess. I've been away for a little while. Been absent.
All right. We're not here to judge your hairstyle. We're here to judge your promo plans. Um, so Shah, I haven't seen you on the calls before.
I haven't. I came initially, was on the calls, then I kind of dropped out. I thought I'm going to come in the last one and just got back from all these calls before. I've just kind of dropped off. I just want to get
Okay.
myself back in the last call.
Okay. Alrighty. So let's just put Shah with someone who has been here for some time as well then. So when you go into this breakout room, I want you to just share with each other how far you've come in the 12 weeks, what you are focusing on, what you find is your biggest challenge. So overall, what is your biggest challenge? And are you set and ready for Q2? So we're now, well, we're April 25, right? So we're already in Q2. So you should be executing upon this plan. Some I know, like Ruben, who is not on the call because it's way early in the morning for him, is already implementing on his plan. Nirel, I know you and Svetlana are already implementing on the plan. So you can discuss whether you're sticking with this plan for, the next quarter and beyond as well. Ideally, most people here on the call, you would, right? You don't want to come to the next quarter and then be changing your plan, like changing your product, changing your whole focus, because you can change your activities to tweak them to make them better, but really it would be about continuing this. Now, Catherine, I know that you've put in something about, no, you're shaking your head.
I'm shaking my head that advice is not for me, because something that's I'm in a different place.
You've got something that's only 60 days, right? That
Oh,
you want to
yes.
do.
Yeah, no, my next promo will be just shy of 3 months because my book launches on the 25th of July. So everything is back from 25th of July.
Okay. All right. So let's go into a breakout room, discuss where you're at and what your focus for the rest of this quarter is, any challenges you've got. We're going to come back into the main room so that I can get more information from those that maybe haven't popped it into the sheet. And let's go in for 3 people. Let's go in for 8 minutes, Rosaline. So 7 and 1 minute to get back. Fabulous. Right. I'm not sure if we can you unmute, Rosaline? Are we good?
Sorry, being a detailed person, I was just reading through the options to make sure they were set correctly. So, Otter, pause.
Okay. Welcome back. So I jumped around as much as I could in the groups in that little bit of time. And it was great to hear you all sharing. So I'd love to hear from one person from each group. Sorry, I didn't get you to nominate that before you come back. So you can either, when it come to your group, someone can jump in, or I can nominate a compulsory volunteer on behalf of you all for efficiency. So I'm going to start with the first group that was back, Catherine, Bucker and Diane. And Catherine, you nominated. So I'd just love to hear what was some things that came up in your group, either a super highlight that you're excited you could celebrate because there were some celebrations going on in some groups, or challenges that you were hearing.
For celebrations. So what was the common denominator between the three of us is that we all learned a lot. For Barca, it was a real grounding, kind of implementing and testing, trying new things, testing in a very grounded way. For Diane, shout out to Diane. She actually launched a lead magnet, which I think is freaking awesome because I know how hard it is to, implement your creations. And for me, it was actually a pivot. So I realized through the program that although I had my avatar pretty accurate, I didn't have the problem, or the problem that I started with is not the problem I wanted to solve. So once I realized I was actually solving a different problem, that's when I also had to pivot the solution. And yeah, so we were all in similar in terms of lots and lots of learning, and different in terms of what we were celebrating, and also our challenges and next steps.
Mm. I love that, Catherine, because it's not just about getting that feedback on what marketing efforts and activities are working, but also what do you enjoy doing, right? I mean, ultimately, you need to solve a problem, be it a painful one or an aspirational one that your audience actually has and wants to move through. So that's the obvious, but sometimes we forget. We fall in love with our product and we forget to fall in love with our client. So making sure that you're walking that journey in their shoes is really key. But for a lot of people, and it doesn't matter if you're starting out, if you're in a micro business, you're in a more established startup business, or even in a scale-up business, we have to be checking in as to, is our product relevant, again, for what the market wants, but also, is it in alignment with you? You know, at one point I decided I was going to offer virtual COO services, and I signed up, got about $120,000 of contracts in that, and did it for 6 months and went, oh, this is not my jam. This is not actually what I want to do. But I didn't know. Like, for a year, I was like, yeah, that's what I'll do when I have some spare time. And I went, all right, let's launch it. And I did. And then I went, no, not my thing. Now, they all wanted me to keep going with it. It was a success, but I personally didn't want to keep going with it. Now, as my company grows, will I bring someone else on that can maybe do that virtual COO? For sure, because it certainly hit a spot in the market. But me personally, no. But I only knew that by doing that as well, right? So yes, always be testing your product. I do have some feedback for you on your product as well when we come to the questions. All right, so I'm going to come to Nirel and Eleanor were in a group, I think with Stacey as well, but we'll leave one of the ladies know to chat. It might have been Nirel's Otter. Nirel and Eleanor, was there a third person, I'm sorry, in your group? Nirel saying no, Eleanor saying yes. Who would like to share?
I guess
Eleanor.
Narelle can. Narelle can.
Your mic's open, so I'm going to go with you, Eleanor.
Okay, all right. Okay, so when we chatting with Narelle, we find out that we've got, we all have like a lot of learning as well, but also quite a few challenges. And we start to talk more about learning as well, but about challenges as well. So in our case, because we would like to implement a lot of stuff, and one of I can highlight a few questions. For me personally, I realized, so who actually we neglected two very important leads who can completely change our business, and we actually get more clients not from out of social media because of nature of our business, because it's quite expensive to do renovation. It's our main leads. It's gonna be through our referral, which we completely neglected. And we got like 300-400 of clients whom we did renovations. Another one is architects as well, who directly needs us as much as we needs them. So that was like a revolution. So I completely changed the strategy of what we need to do, where we need to focus. However, saying that, we still keep our social media because like 30% of client goes from Google. So it's good to keep all eggs in one basket. And Norel was trying to as I understand, to make her team work and understands what she's talking about. So to communicate them the message so they can take ownership for their results. So they will be as much in fire to get results and metrics as she. So which is not very easy. I can understand that because we've got some problems
for
with
anyone,
that.
right? Because
Yeah, for anyone, yeah.
learning to do it, and it's about teamwork coming together. Yeah,
And we've got questions about how to overcome gatekeepers. One,
Yeah.
if on the call, and another question from me that's as well. If any software like Trello, any other, where if you've got most of your team virtual, outsourced, so you can come together, speak together, but also see whatever who is doing. So we also everyone see where the deadlines is, so they can see that if they don't do something on time, they actually stop all the process. That's
So I will answer that one immediately because you will need to go and do some research. But I had a residential building client. They did about 110, I think 150 at their busiest homes a year. I set them up on, this was years ago, I set them up on teamwork.com, and we had everything. So now they were predominantly all in the same office. However,
but still, yes,
it was from the front end sales. What we did was take the big whiteboard that was in the building supervisor's office as such, that was the planning. I mean, he still had that, but we made sure that that was on, could be visible from project management. So, but we had the sales side. So one client would have a project and there would be the sales, and then it would flip through to the actual construction side, and then also the maintenance side. I don't believe that teamwork would be the thing to do now. I think there has emerged more industry specific project management stuff, but it worked brilliantly for them for like 6 years. So it was more about getting everyone on the page. So, you know, have a look at what is the industry specific software that's out there, but teamwork is what we used at the time. There wasn't ClickUp. Asana was not good enough. Yes, you can use Trello. It's pretty good to me. It's not truly a project management software. So I kind of steer away from that. But yeah, Motion is good, but I don't think it's also specific enough for the building side of things. So yeah, I would have a look at those.
Thank you.
Okay, let's come around to, who do we have in the next team? We had Aroka, Liam, and Tosin came in at the end. So who would like to speak out of three of you? Liam, by the looks.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think what emerged as a common thread, I think it was directly connected to what you were sharing at the beginning, just around the importance of discipline and time in pulling together all the various threads and executing on them, you know, analyzing as the metrics come in and then reiterating from there. So I think that's the bottom line that showed up for us is, you know, we've seen the potential, and now it's just about execution, right? And tracking all of those various threads and making sure that we've got the again, it comes down to the time, but also, you know, that we're leveraging teams properly to make sure that everything is being attended to have it all come together.
Yeah. Yeah. And keeping the eye on the prize, right?
Mhm.
Which is the plan. Keeping your eye on the plan, not getting distracted. Was it Gap? I have done so many calls over the last year, but was it Gap last week that I spoke about Parkinson's law? It was. There you go. Thank you. I've spoken about it like 10 times, and it has been the biggest takeaway for some people. So remember that, right? That classic story of, we've got this thing to do. That's our single pointed focus. But in order to do that, we're going to go and like do all these other things, which maybe are important, but not actually driving the needle on getting this thing implemented. At this stage of all of your businesses, it's about getting into the action, and you can make things perfect as you go over the quarters, right? You're much better just getting in and getting it happening for sure, hitting those launch dates, hitting that communication going out, you know, refining the feedback and the messages. Don't try and make it the same as, you know, companies that have got an entire tribe to get behind it and endless pits of money to make the most beautiful images or things like that. Just get out there, because you know, it's how well you connect with your audience and that you understand them and that you really are clear on the problem they have and that you can solve that. That's the key thing. Rather than spending 2 hours on have you got the right font or something like that. I'm just making that up. Awesome. Love the discipline. And well, we'll see you on, obviously, feedback on how that's going on our Crystal Circle calls as well, Liam. Anything else from the group that you wanted to share?
No, I don't think so. I think that was the big one.
Awesome. Okay, fabulous. I'm going to come over to Svetlana. You had Shah in your group as well. I know Stacey was in there too. What is it you'd like to share?
Yeah, okay. Well, I think with the biggest challenge, I think for Shah, he was just saying he's actually got to go through all the videos now and just to sort of pull out and see, well, how does his service is going to fit into the promotion plan. So he's got to go back and do those steps again. And so that's, I guess, Shah, your biggest challenge. And for me, it was about the getting past the bulldogs of in the schools. They're trying to get to the people I need to speak to. So they're some of them are doing their job brilliantly, but it's about that would be the biggest challenge is really getting past. I mean, we've got a lot of the we've implemented a lot of the strategies now. We're sort of getting into a flow. I'm following up with 27 schools this week, which is fantastic. But now it's like, how do I continue doing that? But how do I get past those, all the gatekeepers, as they're called? Yeah, that is the biggest challenge.
Okay, got it. Thanks for sharing, everyone. Okay, so let's come over to the questions then that we have, and then I'm going to finish off with your final piece of measuring the metrics. All right. Oh, best if I get the right week's questions. Okay, there we go. I did spend my first 10 minutes reviewing, looking at the wrong week's questions. So that was not my attention to detail at 4 a.m. in the morning. Then I figured, I think I've already answered these. Okay, I'm going to come to Liam first. Liam, great highlight. You've got the metrics to guide future decisions. Awesome. Question, thoughts on how to run plans for multiple avatars on the same marketing channels without creating confusion? Ooh. Why are you doing multiple avatars?
Well, and part of this is just the structure of our company. We actually have two companies. So there's an avatar for one and then an avatar for the other. And there's some distinctions between, each one obviously has its own presence on LinkedIn and that kind of thing, but there's some crossover when it comes to like email and some other channels. So it's not like they're fully collapsed together. And I may be answering my own question here. It's just about making sure that each avatar only sees content specifically created for them, is my guess.
Well, yeah, and I would go for simplicity. When have you got the Hugh Person Project hat on?
Yep.
And what's being communicated in those channels to that avatar? And when do you have the Taylor Group hat on? Or have you changed the branding name? Are we still going under Taylor Group?
For the time being, yeah.
So when you've got that hat on and what's being communicated on those channels. Now, if you have a shared thing like an email database, I would simply, yes, I would be segmenting where possible. If you're still in the process of segmenting that, then at least make sure when your communication goes out, it's got the banner and it's got, you know, maybe even the email address, if possible, if you can have two in there. I know things like MailChimp and that you can.
Right.
But, you know, have the imagery, Person Project, so that people are starting to know when it relates. Or if you're still, I mean, I wouldn't recommend this for very long, but you might have, you know, the Taylor group almost as if that's where you've been communicating for so long, and then have like a sub banner that's a Person Project that shows this is your kind of spin-off niche brand. I know that's not where we want the end perceptions to be. We want them to be solid on their own, but the fact that you've got a database of people that have been the Taylor group, seeing that it's the spin-off luxury, because that's how you're positioning it, right? It's
Yeah.
that high end. I would have that. So they see it's all the same, you know. So if someone was to get an email from the Genius Group, they could see the list of companies in there. And it's interesting. The core thing is what's the message that's in that email still.
Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So just stress test everything, that if you flipped around and you were the client, you were the audience, is the message clear? And, you know, if need be, can I see that they belong to the same group? Socials, not so much. You want that in the company. You might want to say previously, you know, Taylor, or a part of the Taylor group versus previously, so they don't think, oh, well, it's rebrand. You might say it's
Mhm.
part of the Taylor group if it's going out to audience again that knows you from that branding. But yeah, there's quite a distinction in your avatars. So
Right.
the crossover is more, there's some shared philosophies, there's some shared, you know, materials and teaching, of course, in what you're doing, but it's shared team as well, which is where it can actually be internally that it feels more confusing than externally.
And that might be the glitch right there, because we see everything behind the scenes. So yeah, just making sure that the team, you know, is really clear on any kind of outward facing stuff. No, we're in this lane speaking to this avatar, and now we're putting on those different hats, like you said, when we go over here, and just making sure we get that really dialed in on our end first. Yeah.
Exactly. And for those that don't know the full spectrum of the companies that Liam plays within as well, and why I'm like, why would you be doing two avatars, is because if Liam was just talking about the Taylor group, we are about mastering one avatar, right? One avatar and doing that really, really well. And that's the same for everybody on this call. One avatar, do it absolutely well. Know what that minimal viable mark is for you. You know, we had a bit of a golden rule on we do not go and add in another avatar until that first one is at least to $1 million. Now, each industry will have a different figure, but please don't make it too low. If you go, oh, well, when I make 100,000 out of this avatar or 250,000 out of this avatar, then I'll add another avatar in. I would say in most cases, no. Because you have not got the consistent market attraction and market share that's going to create sustainability and future-proofing your business if you kind of hit a mark as low as that and then go on to another avatar, right? And this is where your understanding of what is an avatar difference versus just a transcendence or a next logical step in your pathway. An avatar truly has a different set of characteristics of buying process, of problems, of solutions that they're needing as well. So, you know, sometimes people will say, I've got these different avatars, but it's actually, no, they've completed, you know, it's like going from Gap to Crystal Circle or going from Gap to Wealth Dynamics Masters. That is not necessarily a different avatar. Now, we do know that people will have, it's kind of like graduating from one thing and going into the next, right? Same avatar at a different stage on the journey. So for everybody, hopefully that helps you temper any desires to go and have multiple avatars. Because if you ask me, just know my answer is going to be no, don't do it until you actually have really mastered the marketing and the delivery for your one avatar. In Liam's case, they have two separate companies. There's a much bigger team behind Liam as well, or that Liam is a part of. And they have the Hugh Person project, which is focused on a very couture, is the kind of the feel of their brand in leadership. So, you know, we're talking about anywhere from 100,000 to 500,000 up in one deal with a client. And versus the Taylor Group, the programs can be starting at, you know, $700 up to maybe, I don't know, your highest offering, maybe 20,000 or something like that. Maybe
Yeah,
even
right. A little more than that, more in like the 50K range, but that would be for like a annual contract. But yeah, there's a
There's a
clear
big
distinction
difference,
there.
right?
Yep.
Yeah. So therefore they are different avatars, but they've actually split it into different companies with different people leading, and they share resources across them for the time being. But it will get to a point where, you know, there will need to be, as both grow and scale, there will probably need to be dedicated team in each one. And, you know, Liam might elevate himself to like group head mentor, where he can sit across both, but then he would have like a whole team in the Taylor Group and also in Hugh Person project. Or he might just say, no, you know what, I'm just going to stay in here. This is where I've got my flow. So hopefully that makes sense to you, Liam, and everyone else as well.
Yeah, really helpful. Really helpful way to conceptualize it on a few fronts. So thank you.
Awesome. Very good. Okay, so I'm going to leave Ruben's question to last because he's very in tune with what I'm going to share. Nirel, and this came up in the chat, but also here. So how to reach, or so, I'm not sure who wrote it, how to reach the principals to make decisions. You only have contact details of the admin person, so the gatekeepers, right? I love gatekeepers. I love working with the gatekeepers back in the day when I used to, and I have a feeling I'm going to have to do that again at some point soon. The reason being, when you get to that final person, okay, yes, they're the same as your avatar that you are painting in your, you describing in your promotion plans. So, you know, B2C or B2B, but being able to speak direct to the decision maker tends to be like, it's clear, right? You get them on the prospect call, you can take them through that journey. Gatekeepers just tend to represent that the person you're looking to speak to is operating at a higher level if we look at our wealth lighthouse. So the conversation that you would have with a yellow level B2B versus a blue level B2B versus a green level B2B is a little different. So you want to understand what level are they at in terms of the leadership of the business, right? Now, they might have whole different personal stuff going on. Maybe they're at red because, you know, in the school system, they don't necessarily get paid a lot. So whatever's going on in their personal life, this is not about that. This is about what size ship are they steering? Is it a green level? Is it a blue level? And that might be a little bit of research as well. You might be able to check out who is the principal of this school on LinkedIn and so forth, see their experience. Are they a newbie? Are they, you know, have been around in many things? Have they also been on boards and things like that? Like if they're high up, your conversation with a blue level person is going to be different to green level, and based on the outcomes, right? Now, you've got kind of a example as to like the challenges you're helping people to overcome. Okay, this is your whole, I thought it was the brochure, sorry, this is a lot more that I haven't read. So is this the program essentially you're putting here, like your Svetlana?
This is our impact statement. So that's kind of the next stage once we connect with the principal. So the first thing we send out is a brochure with the email introducing who we are. And then this is the impact statement. So now this hasn't been perfected because we actually want to put some graphs in here, some more images, rather than saying the percentages, actually having a visual graph. So that's more of an impact statement that we've developed, because we've been working with schools for the past 8 years. So we've got some data around that. And that's what we're using to kind of leverage what we're trying to expand out the programs, the school programs, because they do want to see data. They want to see the evidence that it's working. What are other schools saying? So we've got testimonials as well from other schools, things like that.
Okay,
But it's just,
got it.
Yeah.
So let me come back to gatekeepers, right? And the end person. Gatekeepers are great because you can be a little bit more conversational with them. Depending, like if you're talking the admin person at the school, I would be wanting to, you want to build a little bit of a relationship with them and say, this is who I am. Who are the people in the school there? You should already know the principals and the vice principals or the head of whatever. And you can say to that person, how do I get a meeting with this person? This is what we're all about. Like, get them on side to your cause. And don't take no for an answer. And I don't mean be a bully on that call. I mean, be okay calling back in 2 weeks' time or the following week, right? Keep calling and saying, okay, hi, it's me again. Just wondering if so-and-so would be available this week. Have they got any appointment slots open? And they'll pretty quickly tell you, like, send something through or blah, blah, blah. And then you can escalate and go, great. Do you know if they've read it yet? Could you put it in front of them, please? Like, because the course date opens on this. We know it's really time sensitive now, but I would be trying to get an appointment. I personally would physically turn up to the school after I've made the initial conversations, and I would turn up 5 more times until I got a yes. And I would say that as well. I would say, no, can't see them today. Okay, I'll be back tomorrow. Or, something to that effect. I'll come back next week, or here's my number again. I know you've already got it, but here's the card. Like, you want to show your energy that you are here to make an impact. So you want to make an impact with who you are and what the whole business is about and what this program is about, right? Definitely. I have done that. My partner did that with law firms. He would get gatekeepers, and he was a significant, well-known, credible lawyer himself, but he still couldn't get in to the big guys sometimes. And he would show up and he's like, I'll be back next week, or that's okay. And he'd joke with the receptionist. Now, it was in his personality, but he'd be saying, that's 5 times you've rejected me now. All right, there's still hope. And he'd just then spin and pivot and walk out, right? So it was like he was building a relationship with the people that were the gatekeepers. Now, and the thing is, yes, it's time sensitive, but you will get some that say yes, and you'll get some you'll need to pick them up in the next intakes, right? Some aren't going to be that quicker decision makers. So the key is you don't stop. If you stop because you're now that intake is done, then you've just got to go and warm that relationship up again. I would continuously be doing that for sure. So you've got to get the relationship with the gatekeeper. It's the same with Roger. Unless you know him, there's a fair chance you're not going to get anything directly to him. You either need to send it like via Penny or me or Michelle. We get lots of inquiries. Could Roger speak on this podcast, or could Roger do this? And I don't have to take them so much anymore. There's other people that can, but for years I was having lots of conversations on And I wouldn't even have the conversation at first. I would say, can you send me a bit more? Because people would say, hey, I've got an idea that I'd like, Roger. And it's like, send me your idea, you know, before I get on the phone with you. But then if it was really interesting, or I knew them, I checked them out, or they presented something up front, I would have a call with them and see what it was, and be able to say yes or no, whether I'd escalate it to Roger or not. Because if I took every idea to Roger, he would get angry in a Roger way. Not angry, just like, why are you bringing me this, you know? So it needs that kind of screening. Now, your product is great. We know that. But again, you've got to understand what is the principal's problem that they're trying to solve. So you've got the problem of the teachers, and yes, it's a problem of the principal, but is there anything else? You know, maybe in the conversation with the admin person going, how is the school? Wow, how many students do you have here now? And you know, is that increased, decreased? There'll be conversational points that you can find out information as you're building those relationships. I mean, that's a pretty simple answer, but that's what I would do. It's about relationship building. Does that help?
It helps a lot. And I think my gut was telling me about going face to face. So that's just concretized that in my head. And I thought, yep, that's it. That's the next stage. So, yeah. So I feel like we are on track with what where we're heading. Thank you.
Welcome. All right, I'm going to come to Catherine.
Can I just ask one thing, Donna? Because what you've raised is actually, who is the avatar? Because the product that we're delivering is for a child, but is the avatar really the principal?
Well, who's paying for it?
The principal, the government, probably.
So your avatar is the child.
Mm,
However,
yeah.
your partner, we call it a partner,
yeah,
being the school. Now, you could call that, you know, the buying avatar if you want to. When you're doing a plan, yeah, I would go, this is the problem of the child that the children have, and this is the promise we're making. Like, this is the transformation that they will have, and this is the product. So they are still your end avatar, but your buying avatar is.
Thank you. Yeah, that makes
Often
sense.
with schools, it is that it's like you kind of have your end avatar, and then you have your buying avatar. Yeah, perfect. Okay, Catherine, I'm going to come to you. So your question was, have you got the right offer for the avatar problem, and is it compelling enough to take action? I did send back your email last night. Hopefully you got that. So
thank you. Yeah, very helpful.
Offer on 154. All right, are you ready for it?
Yeah.
I'm going to say no, because now it's not wrong, but it's the communication around it. When I read this, have you been struggling or taking Nice. I've just launched my new company, and to celebrate, I want to kick off with for the last 7 years, but I've never tried to do it in such a short period of time. I'm looking for leaders to test it. Never done it before, will never do it again. Everything in that language screams rookie to me, and that you're playing. I know that's not you, and I know that's not your intent of the message, but if I'm the recipient of it, great, good on you that you've launched your new company. Awesome. You're celebrating by helping 3 people. Okay, marketing message. You've never done it in a short period of time. Oh, so I'm going to be your guinea pig. You're telling me you want to test it out on me. And yes, it's only for 10K, but I don't know, now I'm questioning, am I going to get the quality right? Like, am I going to get the quality of 10K? I know you say it's half price, but I'm already going, I'm a test guinea pig. I don't want to be a test guinea pig. You've never done this before. Well, shit, you know, how good do you actually know it? You're never going to do it again. why am I going to be a guinea pig, right? It's like I get all of that kind of vibe and feelings. Instead, you could say something that was like, particularly if this is to warm people, it might be, you've got a one-time offer as you develop out material that blah, blah, blah. If it's a warm audience, right? Because you're still hinting at, and I have done this, I have given people consultancy at like 40K instead of the 80K. And I have been upfront and said, because I haven't got all of the bits and pieces that you're going to need created that I can hand over like that, I'm going to be co-creating it. I'm going to be creating it as we're going through it. If you're okay with that. So, but they were as a very personal conversation, right?
Yeah.
You could still do it in an email if it's warm, as in.
No, so my intention was to do this. So this was an experiment just to make an offer. So yay, I did something scary and I did it. Yay. What I want to do next. So the post itself actually got a lot of likes, but nobody booked a call with me. So that's the
Yeah.
feedback.
Because they'd be excited for you. They're happy you've launched a new company. They're excited you're solving these problems. But to actually say, I'm going to be one of those people, I think, versus what you could do is turn it around for the colder audience and say something like, you know, I wouldn't even say I've just launched my new, well, you could say, you know, with over however many years experience in blah, 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 we're now through our new company, Limitless Possibility, if you wanted to say that. Or otherwise just own it, limitless possibilities, you know, like people don't really care whether you've launched or not, unless you're a new, highly innovative thing, you know. Otherwise, just own it, just claim it. This is, I would rather feel like I'm speaking to the person that's been here for a long time. And yes, the innovation is your product, not you or the company as such, right? So you could say, where we have an intake, we have a, you know, after working with however many companies or, you know, so many individuals, maybe it's better to say, versus the company, because the individuals in those companies is certainly going to be an impressive number. You know, I've helped over however many individuals, and we're condensing that down into a 90-day challenge to turn around blah, blah, blah. So you can be using it for your insights and feedback and so forth. But, you know, a challenge, or it doesn't have to be a challenge, but something to that effect, not a pilot program. We don't want to be pilot programs either, right? But something like a 90-day challenge to turn around XYZ, or the 90-day whatever, it tells me that it's solid. You can be behind the scenes scrambling to figure that out. That's what happens. But as the client, no, I want to go, cool, there's this 90-day turnaround program. So rather than you never trying it in a short period of time, I want to hear the fact that you've got the experience, you're offering it up for people to get a 90-day turnaround in XYZ. Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't want them to test your process. You are testing your process. It's a big difference. They want solutions. Like, I'm not going to pay you 10K to test your process. Yeah. It's like, I will pay you 10K to get an outcome, to get a deliverable. In that process, you get to test your stuff. So same, but very different. Does that make sense, Catherine?
Yeah. Those are important. Even though it's subtle, it's important.
Well, it's as subtle like a sledgehammer. So, yeah. I that's my personal thoughts. If anyone on the call has a different thought, definitely share that. All right, I noticed that we are on the hour. So I'm going to finish off with the metrics if you can stay on. All right, some new questions are popping up in here by the looks that, oh no. Diane, how do you describe what you do to your 40th law school reunion? You start with your customer promise. That's what it's there for. Conversational though, not pitch like, okay, you're going to sit and listen, but conversational. Hey, what do you do? Well, I do this, you know, just your customer promise should be what you are nailing and either expanding or condensing based on the environment, the situation, and whether it's conversational or more pitch side. Do you mention AI? Only if you're using AI. If you're still figuring it out, no. You can say that you've got a keen interest to introduce it by all means, but don't promise anything that we haven't done yet. You can say, yeah, I'm introducing that. You've got some really cool stuff coming. You know, 40th law school reunion, going to be conversations. So just anchor off your customer promise. I did look at the link. That looks like it's your submission to the AI micro school
Yeah,
stuff.
yeah. I just
So
wanted
I'm
you
gonna
to
go
see. Yeah, it was only just showing, like I just said, there's a couple of pages that show the customer journey. And so just where AI can show up in that. And also it just explained how I'm looking at supporting people using AI avatars. Like having the a range of avatars who have been seeded as though they have been my students who had specific challenges and stories. And this is all based on real people that I've been working with over the years.
So what is slide 16 and 17? This one, is it? There's
Yeah,
no
so
number.
16 is just saying like that, this is the whole like new idea I had about how to go through the process, because normally I just talk to a mom and then she has to convince the kid and a husband, if there is one, that they should all be doing this. And so now I'm creating avatars that each member of the family could choose someone that they want to interact with that has kind of the story, like a potential story that they would like to have. So that I just wanted to share that.
I love it. I love it for your technical, you know, on the website and those types of things. Absolutely. I mean, I haven't gone through it with a fine tooth comb, but I like that idea. And definitely that is, you know, the pivot that you're seeing Roger doing. I like that. It's then about how that becomes visible to those people in the audience. So, yeah, keep working on that for sure. Keep having the conversations with the parents though as well. And yeah, at your 40th reunion, do your customer promise.
So do I talk about families or do I talk about individuals? Like this has been my other challenge, right? Because in my plan, it began with just talking about I help families.
So this is, and I've answered it every week for about 5 weeks. Your client is the individual.
Okay.
And you help those individuals in different dynamics. Sometimes it's family dynamics or the company dynamics. But your end avatar is the individual.
Okay. I just keep feeling like it feels like more than one avatar, but it's the individual and they show up in different shapes and sizes. Okay. Thank you.
I'm not sharing my screen, am I? Sorry, you didn't see me going through any of that. Okay. All right, so let's come over to Ruben's question, and which is going to have me show you the last part of the metrics. What are great promo review questions to learn and correct for the next promo plan? Well, thank you for asking, Ruben, because this is you have seen this to some degree, but it's the final piece of measuring the metrics, marketing measures. What do we actually measure? Okay. Yes, you've set your targets of followers, community, prospects, and customers. You should be tracking that. Again, on here, you've got your data tracking. which I'm assuming that you're doing in your own sheet because there's no information in these sheets, or if it's because you actually haven't started yet, then make sure you copy this over into your own drive, like copy and paste this so that you can be implementing it, right? Now we have got these here all the way through to June, so you want to be tracking that. Now, that's at the top level strategy on this sheet. You know, how many followers, how many community, how many prospects, how many calls from those prospects, and how many clients in the conversions. What do we actually measure to come up with those follower numbers? You're going to look at your new pixel. So your Google Analytics, you're going to look at your social media fans, the number of viewers on YouTube, the number of reactions on Facebook. It could be the number of podcast listens as well. So things in that following stage, it's not limited to this, but that's the examples. Community, it's going to be how many accounts do you now have on your CRM? So you're going to have a running total and newly created, right? So you want to know the number of new ones and also the unsubscribes. Groups is different to fans, right? So because this is community, this is where they're now engaging the time. So how many people are in the groups? If you started with 100, you now got 150, you're going to add 50 in that time period. That's what you're measuring. Has been the increase, but your total is that 150. Subscribers different to viewers, right? This is people that have said, I want to now spend more time going down the rabbit hole with you on your YouTube channel as such. Registrations to webinars and masterclasses, right? I would also want to know from a campaign perspective, how many showed up to those webinars or masterclasses, how many booked the calls after that. So you will always have top level metrics, and then each campaign that's maybe specific to like Catherine might be giving away a free chapter of her upcoming book. That might have a particular lead magnet campaign attached to it. So it will fit in here as the top level numbers, but then I want to know specifically to that campaign what the results were, specifically to a webinar, what the results were. So many of you that just came off the partner conference, whilst we will have the stats overall, because that will have brought in new people in as followers, it will have increased our community, we will have more prospects that are happening from that. We will be able to drill down into seeing the exact campaign numbers as well, from when it started to when it finishes. So these are things that you can measure, call bookings, program applications, checkout pages, and again, you might want to go how many abandoned carts were in there if you're an e-commerce business, or you might get to the stage where you're sending proposals and you want to know how many were won and lost between the proposal being sent, and what the different stages of your pipeline are. And then, of course, over to clients and repeat clients. We always track new clients and repeat. And then by programs, we do that. So Crystal Circle, we have new clients and we have renewals, because we have some clients that have been with us actually for 10 years. And we have others that might just come for a year. So we are looking at what is our dollar value and percentage of our renewals. You then want to move on to measuring your marketing revenue and the costs, right? So how do you measure your marketing revenue? I mean, total revenue generated, divide it by your number of new customers or repeat customers equals the revenue per new customer. I mean, you might have this just simply on your accounting system anyway, based on your invoices. So that's normally pretty easy to work out. Revenue per follower is simply your revenue divided by your number of new followers, and on the equation goes. So at Prospect, this is actually one of the numbers that we like the most. revenue per prospect. So we take the total revenue that we bring in and divide it by the number of prospects that we had. So if we're looking at historical data, and that gives us a revenue per prospect. So if a call comes in to my diary, that prospect already has an average dollar assigned to it. Now, maybe it's $5,000. They might actually end up spending 20,000, or they might spend 3.5, because we have the different product price points. But the average value of each prospect is what we calculate. And then that way we know, in order for us to hit our targets, we need X number of prospect calls booked, right? Because our average conversion for that will hit us with the target. That's why our prospect value is not the end price point. That's the customer one. The prospect one will be lower because you will not win and convert them all. Therefore, maybe I need 50 valued at 5,000 in order to hit, the 2.5 mark, 250 mark, but which is different to like 10 at 25, right? So hopefully that makes sense there. So you want to work these out. Then you measure the cost per marketing at each of these stages. So you add up all your marketing costs, what you spend on ads, other types of marketing as well. It could be getting your campaigns together, like consultancy fees, if you've actually outsourced that to someone to do. And then you work it out by marketing costs divided by your new followers. So how much does it cost per follower? And same equation essentially for community and prospects, right? So that shows you what it's costing at each of those stages. What do you do with this, right? Now, this here is just example of the dashboards that we this is a real one. I don't remember what year it is, but it's an example of one from quite a few years ago now, where you can see we're tracking what our followers are, community, prospects, through to customers. Now, it was split at that point in time. I think this was during the pandemic, actually. It's split across enrollments, graduates, partnerships. We more so just have partnerships and entrepreneurs now. But then you can see here, total revenue generated, marketing spend. Okay, we've got how much we spent, and then return on ad spend. Okay, so it was $5.24 for every dollar spent. Marketing spend to total revenue, 19%, which in startup stages, you often will find it's 20%. Our budget is 20%. I like to see it go down at times, but depending on the industry, the campaigns that you're doing, 20%. For me personally, even if I have someone give a referral to me, I will pay out somewhere between 10 and 20%. So your affiliate fees, right? We have affiliate fees that we pay in Genius Group as well. If you're signed up to our affiliate program, you will get anywhere between 10 and 20, depending on your partnership level with us. So that is a marketing cost. You can see in March it's gone down. Even though our spend went up, we actually got a higher return, right? So that's good. We want to see that we got a higher return. So I don't know what it was that changed back here. I can't remember. I would say what's different. So they've spent more on the new audiences in Google and Facebook. Hard to say because it could have come from February, January as well. But I'm sure Suraj would have been able to answer exactly what happened there. And some you will see the immediate ROI, and others you will see it's the fact that it's now they're moving through the pipeline. And not everyone is going to say yes to everything. Some will stay in community for a period of time, and then they'll move to prospects. And so again, this is why your conversion numbers are really important. So it might not be what happened in this month resulted in the increase of 850. That can come from prior months as well. But hence you need to track it, because you need to be seeing your trends, and there will be correlation there. We then see, okay, what's the cost per follower in these different months, cost per community. So cost per follower is important to see that we're doing the right marketing spend. I do want to know that it's actually resulting in what's my cost per customer, or I call it customer acquisition cost. CAC is maybe a abbreviation that you see in many places. So we've got different things, right? From 126 to 158, but also our revenue has gone up. So would I prefer to get revenue of 662 that cost me 126, or revenue of 1342 that cost 158? Well, I'd rather this one. So I don't mind that cost has gone up, because it actually so has the revenue in return, right? And again, it's going to be as a result of things that happen in the prior month, but this is what the averages are panning out to be based on those calculations. So here's the average of the quarter, 954 for 154. I'm probably still okay with that, because it's, well, 10%, 20% is like $200, right? So we're about 150. Sorry, 15% there, which is within the budget range, right? If it started to get too high, I'd be concerned. So if that was increasing up towards the 20% at a steady, at a, an incline, I would be looking into it before it gets then way over the top, right? So that's how you can start to use these as a guide as well. I'm not going to go through all these. This is just our example of the measurements. What if you didn't achieve them? Okay, and these are the questions you ask. What was your marketing spend? Well, if you didn't spend anything, is that right for the impact level that you're at? If it's about getting 1 client, 10 clients, fine. I don't actually want you to spend anything other than the minimal viable collateral that is needed in order to have the sales conversations with your prospects. When you start moving towards level 3 and getting 100 clients, yes, you will be starting to have advertising spend in there. Now, you don't want to just rely on advertising spend. You want to have the organic side happening as well. But this is what we're tracking. What was your marketing spend? Which of your ads converted and which did not? So now we're looking at the microscopic view, right? Is your messaging clear? Can you improve on the quality of your copy or your visuals? It's also about looking at, are the ads set up properly? We've had experiences where all of our leads, so this is in a company that, sales and marketing company that I had with my partner, all of a sudden leads dropped. And it's like overnight. What happened? Someone changed the ad the day before and they selected the wrong geographical area. And so it just didn't match, right? And so that greatly impacted the leads that were coming in the next day. So then it was a matter of going, okay, it's the ads it's the settings in the ads that's important. But it took a couple of hours to figure that out. And then they started coming back in again. Which platforms have you used? And which platforms have gained the traction and reach your avatar and which have not? You might choose to lean in a little bit more to the ones that are reaching your avatar, right? Again, you need to look at timing. Don't just do it for a month and then give up. You need to do it for a longer time frame. But these are the questions you're going to be discussing. If you are outsourcing to an agency and they are saying, here's the results, then I hope they are coming with here's what worked, what hasn't worked, and here's what we're going to do differently, right? If they are not, then you need to be pushing for that. Do you have a call to action that is converting the followers to the community, right? If you're not getting those conversions, again, there's timing. What percentage are we actually aiming for? We're not looking for 90% to convert from followers to community. It's way too high, right? You're going to have a lower conversion, but we want a conversion. If there's not conversion happening, if you say, look, I've got 5 followers and I didn't get any conversions, it's not the right size pool to be even measuring, right? So that doesn't count. You need much more than that. But you're looking at, do you have the right call to action? Which ones aren't working and why, right? Again, you go back in and you'll say, is it the ad that we put for the call? Is it the call to action itself? Do we need to change the name of it? Was it the timing? Did we not was it not compelling? Did we do it on the wrong date, time? You know, did we do it in the middle of election time and everyone's consumed by that and they're not really looking at this? So there's all the different influencing factors you need to look at. And then if you are changing things, don't go and change everything at once. Like change, if you're happy with the call to action, what the thing is, like maybe it's a masterclass, don't go and do a new masterclass if you're looking, well, actually, maybe it's just the title, you know, or maybe it's the date, or, you know, things like change one thing. Don't go and change everything. Otherwise, you don't know what the thing was that made a difference. Sometimes it's simply the headline or the landing page that needs changing. Community to prospects, you know, is this pathway really easy, simple, and clearly defined? One of the most common mistakes I see here is that people don't give that clear call to action, or they give too many options, or it's like, let me know if you're interested. No, I need to like click on a button, book in a call, register for something. I need to do a thing. Don't just let me know. You know, let me know. I'm gonna go, okay, cool. Well, unless I'm like right there, yes. I might think, well, how do I let you know? Okay, I've got to send an email, or who's going to get the email? What am I going to say in the email? It's like all those things that go on, right? So a call to action needs to be the thing. I think I said that in yours, Svetlana, like when you said, you know, I'm here to help you with any inquiries. It's like, no, you're not. It's like, let me know by return to this email. So you're giving specific instructions. Reply to this email if you want to know more. Very clear. And you can also have a button in there or a link that says, book in for a 15-minute call with me right here. So you want them to be able to take instant action. We don't want this conversation backwards and forwards on email. This is different to Catherine's reach out where, no, actually, Catherine, you can have I think I changed yours as well, where it was asking more for that 15 minutes. And again, you could have a link to your calendar. I think on yours, it was more about having you calling them. I can't remember. Sorry, it was late last night. But same, clear call to action. So again, we look at what are your activities and offerings that are converting. Have you communicated how you solve the problem? Comes back to that customer promise being evident through every stage of the value cycle. Even at followers and community and prospects, you are still solving a problem, just not the full enchilada way, like your actual product offerings, right? And so limited ways that you are doing that, but still giving the right amount of solution to move them through that stage. Is the value of your program and product clear? You know, are your sales team and sales page, is that clear as well? Do you have a sales team and a sales page, or is that you? We've just had a recent turnover of our sales team. And when I say turnover, it's turned, and we haven't got the new ones in yet. So hence lots of calls showing up in my diary. I'm not, I mean, yes, I'm a salesperson and I do sales, but I don't normally do them on the front end as much as what Michelle and I need to do until we bring our sales team in. And that was a decision because they weren't performing. So it was a little bit, everybody's out. Everybody's out. We're just going to bring it back in-house to Michelle, me, and Duncan. Not ideal, but we also know that we can do the sales. So a little bit of hustle on time for me to do that amongst delivery and amongst creating, you know, and new innovations. But it's just where it's at right now until we bring the right sales team into play. So we know the value of the program. The issue was us getting that to the sales team we brought in. They were too low a level in their ability to sell the types of programs that we have. So that needs to match, right? What journey do your prospects travel in? So in order to reach you, again, is this like you're at an event, you're doing your event and they're coming and they're speaking to someone, or is it they're booking a call? Is it an discovery call? You know, what's the actual journey that they go through on that? I call this at times too your sticky journey, right? So if someone has gone to the effort of showing up, attending something or watching something or downloading something and then saying yes to the call to action, how do we make sure that call sticks, right? And that's going to be the journey, that the communication that you have with them either via email or messaging between that booking and them having the call. That's your opportunity to keep building trust before they even get to you. It can be, here's a video on, here's what to expect in our time together. You know, prepare this one thing, or here's someone like you, what they have to say about working with us or solving this problem or how they solve that problem. So you can be mapping out that journey, particularly as you start having a volume coming in. You want to automate those things where it's really high value. How do you connect with your prospects? Well, these are all questions that come back to your value cycle. What experience are you giving your new and existing customers? So this is your product, right? Is it relevant? Because yes, you hope you're answering this when you're designing it, but when you're looking at your stats and you go, why did that not work? Did we think it was relevant and it's actually not? Did our customers say it was good, but you know, they want something else? So you want to be sending surveys out to your customers as well to get that feedback so that you can continually improve the product. What activities keep them coming back and buying again and telling their friends? Do you have a specific referral program set up as well? And notes. If you've never done this before, set a baseline, right? Set your targets based on what you think is reasonable to achieve, but willing to stretch yourself a little as well. Then make sure you capture it on a weekly basis. Have those conversations with yourself and your team, what's working, what's not, and then make improvements on a weekly basis as well. This is not negotiable. It is not, you know, I kind of, you know, want to do it, but I don't have the discipline. Get the discipline and have the conversations. And in my way, it would be kind of, you're on the bus or you're off the bus, team. This is what we're doing. And if you're off the bus, then the bus is leaving in a direction that is not where I'm heading. So here's your ticket, bye-bye. Like, that is how serious this is. You need to actually measure your data and know your numbers and make decisions so that you can maneuver on that, be agile. All right, I think I've hammered that home as much as need be. Thank you everyone for staying on. Was that helpful to see that? What do you now do with this data? Yeah, awesome. I see a few people have dropped off.
There's a question from Nyrel. Donna, final one.
How do you work out these numbers? Which numbers?
The numbers that you were showing about follower community and the ad spend on it when you were talking, you know.
So how you measure the followers, you need to get your numbers from these places, and then how
But
you
the ad spend, yeah, like how much
Yeah, so
you know, how much they cost.
Yeah. So you should know what your ad spend was, and then the marketing cost, say it's community. So that's your overall marketing cost divided by the number of community. This is the equation.
Okay. Right. Thank you.
Yeah. Oh, I'm not sharing my screen.
No,
Oh.
thanks.
So
Okay,
yeah,
great.
this one.
Great.
Slide
Fantastic.
through. Cool. All right.
Thank you.
If everyone can just drop into the chat, what has been your insight from today's call? For those that have already run away and are listening back, thank you for all your work over the past 12 weeks, and can't wait to see what the results are from you implementing this in the next couple of months. So key insights, your new offer, Catherine. Okay, awesome. Numbers matter, Diane. Yes. Measure what matters. Metrics are the key. Absolutely. Absolutely. We want both, right? We want to run on our intuition and our innovation, and we want the numbers as well. And because it's not about stifling what you know. You know, sometimes you just know, okay, if I change this, and then, all right, test it. Let's see that the numbers back that up as well. Go through the recording chart. Yes, absolutely. And making connections. Fabulous. Well, everyone, thank you, you know, from Michelle and Siraj and Rosaline and everyone that has been here with you on this program. Thank you all for your efforts. Many of you, I will see you in our Crystal Circle calls. If you are not in Crystal Circle and you are wondering what your next steps are from here, do reach out to us. Sorry, I haven't got that call to action right set up, but we'll also be in touch with you as well. So have a great rest of the day, everyone, and smash those Q2 results. See you
Thanks,
all.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye.